BK Carson. Okay. And I say this is because when I grew up in Roanoke, Virginia. I was born in West Virginia, and my mom migrated to Virginia, and I grew up there. And as a child growing up, a lot of this integration and all of that, I mean, we was in the peak of it. They had did the Brown versus the Board of Education in 54. I started the school in 58, and we still was in a segregated school system. We were always, given the inferior books and things for our studies, and the least amount of money. Our buildings was the last to be fixed. Matter of fact, they would tear one down before they would fix one. And then in the process of all of that right there going on, there was always that fear when my dad came home late from work. Is he coming home? Is he going to be a statistic in the news or somewhere like that right there? And I remember all of that. And then I remembered when we moved to to Dayton, Ohio. My mom migrated us to Dayton, Ohio. And we started going to a predominantly white school. And all the drama that went on with that. I remember when they vandalized my brother's car and wrote all sorts of racial slurs all over it. Always that fear as I was growing up. And the one most outstanding thing that I wanted to talk about was with that right there going on and them telling us that I could do anything I want, I could be anybody I want. I wanted to be a nurse, and I would tell my guidance counselor, who happened to be white at the time, that's what I want to do. I want to take those classes that I need to become a nurse. And he kept, oh honey, you don't want to be a nurse. You need to just graduate, get a job, and help your mother take care of all those children, which I didn't think that was any of his business how many kids my mom had. So I had to slip behind his back and put down classes that I knew I needed to take, like, the science classes and anatomy, chemistry, all those things there. He kept trying to push me into those secretarial classes and things like that, which I knew I was not going to be nobody's executive secretary anywhere. That was just an illusion. And the biggest illusion of all that he portrayed on me, because I had worked behind his back, I got the chemistry, I got the English, and those things I needed to get into college, because I knew I wanted to go to college. And those are things that requirements you had to have. When we had my senior year, we had the colleges to come into the school, and you could sign up for college, and they'll take your applications right then. So I was all happy, and I had a little friend. I can't say my best friend. She's a white girl, but we was close because she wanted to be a nurse also. We both filled out our little application for Sinclair College, because that was a 2-year waiting list. But right out of high school, you could get right into college. So we filled it out. And about June that year, she calls me up and she's all excited. "McKay, did you get your acceptance letter?" I said, "No, I didn't get no letter." "Oh, I got mine. It should come in a few weeks." I waited and it did not come. So I called the school and I asked them about my letter. What should I do? The little guy, once again, same guidance counselor, he told me, he said, "Oh, this is just like high school. You just go on down there the first day and they would assign you a class." And I'm a praying girl. I forgot that part. I believe in God, the eternal Father, His Son, Jesus Christ. I remember praying. I said, "Oh, Father, help me to know what I need to do." And it came to me just as clear as day. It said, "Call the school." So I called the school to ask them about what I needed to do, for the first day. Did I need to bring anything? And he said, "Did you get a letter of acceptance?" And I said, "Well, no." And I told him what my guidance counselor told me. He said, "Oh, no, this is nothing like high school. You've got to have a letter. And if you don't have that letter, you got to wait 2 years." I was devastated. And just to think of how humiliated I would have been to go running off down to Sinclair College the first day and telling them I was there to pick up my class schedule. I would have been devastated. And I just felt like that would just crush me. It would have. So I just asked, what did I need to do? And they told me I just need to take these other classes to prepare myself for college when my 2 years was up. And well, anyway, no more. I did become a nurse. I found a new route. I found a young man that was trying to go into the military. He hadn't figured out where he wanted to go yet. And I went with him to his Air Force recruiting person. And when I heard the recruiter tell him, oh man, don't keep working and going to school, because you know they didn't tell us about grants, loans, and those things to go to school, you know, in school, high school. And he said, let your Uncle Sam pay for that. I looked over at him. I forgot all about the dude. I can't even tell you what his name is. I walked right over there, been across that desk, and I said, will my uncle pay for me to go to school? Man, fell out, because that was the year that they wanted women in the service. So anyway, I went into the service, and I did indeed go to school, and I am now a registered nurse. And my goal the whole time was to open up that door. I had to be a registered nurse, not an LPN or any of that. I had to be a registered nurse, because there was little girls coming behind me that I did not want to say, well, I don't know no African American registered nurse. I know an LPN, I know nurses' aides, and the blessings from that. I went to work, and I found a young lady. She came up to me, hugged me, and was real all excited. And she said, you used to be my Girl Scout leader. I remember how tired you used to be, because you was a nurse, you worked at night, but you always woke up in time to take us places and do things with us. And I said I wanted to be a nurse. Hey, I am a nurse. I was so pleased to know that right there. And in my lifetime, to have an African American president, prayers as a prayer. And I always told the kids, you can be anything you want, including the President of the United States. Always said that, and that is real, that is so. And as I was telling my young ones back there, he kicked that door open. That door is no longer shut to us. That door is kicked open. We have an African American president, an African American president that looks African American, and I like that. Well, I done said enough. I don't think I can say anything else. And I for the election here, both terms, as a registered nurse, I do home care. In every home that I went into, African American home, I insist that the people went out to vote. And I come back and check. You got to have that little I voted sticker. Yeah, that's my story. The trip was exhilarating. I got lost and found a whole bunch, but it was exhilarating to be that close. Couldn't touch him, but I was close enough. This is history. This is something. I also do my family history, the genealogies and things like that. This is a story that I can put into that to let my children know, and my children's know. Okay, thank you.
When I've done talked about that registered nurse, she never once said the fact that I'm falling behind her in her footsteps. I'm pretty upset about that. And when I remember the civil rights movement. I can remember my brothers and sisters fighting for it. I can remember them out.
Can you state your name, please?
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Denise Dews, and I come from a family of 9. I'm the baby. I'm an identical twin sister. Out of Mama's 5 daughters, 3 of us are nurses. And I did start off as that licensed practical nurse that she's talking about. I did. Then I graduated to becoming an R.E.A.L. When I was going to school to become that LPN, let me go back. When I was in high school, I ran into that same counselor that she ran into. And he told me that little black girls, 10 years later, little black girls don't become nurses, that we should become secretaries. And like her, I did the same thing she did. I slipped into chemistry, I slipped into anatomy and physiology, because he wasn't going to stop my dream. Then I went through the doors of the LPN school, where they told me that I had an African American twang, that I wasn't fit to be a nurse, that I would offend the white elite. I don't know who the white elite was. I don't know who they are. So, and he said it was okay for me to talk that way to my friends in the ghetto. Now, I don't live in the ghettos. I don't know them people either. So, that's when I know that the NAACP is a good organization. So we sued that school, we slammed them hard, or we slammed them. And I made it through nursing school, no problems whatsoever. And I understand what Martin Luther King, what his fight was. I understand what the struggle was. And the young kids today, we can get them to understand the struggle. Because it's a struggle, you know. I told the woman, because she still gave me half. You know, she wanted to take away my perfect attendance. She wanted to take away my A average. And I finally told her, I said, you all talk about what y'all can give African American high, all these opportunities are out there for us. how that, we could be anything we want, but y'all never tell us the hell we have to go through to get it. The woman has a PhD. I'm going as an LPN, one step up from an A, and she's giving me the blues. She's giving me the blues. Because because her teacher said what she said to me. I didn't say nothing to that teacher. I was in there for 1 week when that woman said that to me. And her thing was to break me down and to hurt my pride. That's what her plan was. And like Kay said, I always been a praying woman. She had caught me, about a year or 2 years earlier, I would put out of school, but I would have gave her a piece of my mind. But like my mama said, I put some draws on my lips, but I just looked there and said, oh, okay. Okay. I'll be whatever you want me to be, but you won't be working in about 2 days. So then I went back to school and to better educate myself, to better support my family. And I did become, the registered nurse like my big sister. So that was my dream also, to do that. Like I was saying before, Martin Luther King made us that I could hear him saying his speech. I could hear him saying that we could have the same opportunity as anybody in the world. When President Barack Obama, because I never paid attention to politics until a black man started to run for president. And I've been a politicking fool, do you hear me? I don't care. If I'm sleeping, they say Barack Obama, I'm up like, what they say about him? What did they just say? I got to know what was said, but I remember in school, then I'm gonna shut up. I remember in school, I did a picture before they did a movie. I did a picture and I had painted Jesus black because he looked like me. And I remember the teacher telling me that, no, you did that wrong. You cannot paint a Jesus black. Sit back. I also remember in school where I said that I was gonna be president. And they told me no black would ever be a president. I sure wish I could find them teachers. But they rolling over in their grave right now. Because we got a black president. Twice. Sherry called me, her hooked up from week on week for her she was patient with me to get the money. And I really had a great time. I really had a great time on this trip. And I want to thank her and Cassie. Both of them called me. I done called every number from here to China, and I didn't realize when I called Cassie first, then I was talking to Sherry, and she kept saying the same thing that Cassie said. I said, now, I know I didn't talk to this woman. How does she know what I just said to the other woman? I found out they were sisters.
State your name first.
My name is Tony. This is not my first time. I came with Sherry them before. And I always have a good time. We really family oriented. We do a lot of stuff together as a family. That's just how we are. So it was a good experience the last trip. It was a good experience this trip, even though it was a mess down there with all those people. But it was still nice just being in the atmosphere and stuff like that. This is the first time I put so much. When Barack Obama was running for the second time, I was tore up for about 2 weeks because if Mitt Romney had won, if he had a loss, white people would have been, or shall I say, Caucasians, they would have been upset. But if Obama would have lost, we'd have been sick. I mean, just sick. Couldn't even get out to bed in the morning. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I had prayed to God and said, God, listen, let your will be done. Whatever your will is for him to win or lose, because I know he's trying to do the right thing. He's trying to get the country back in shape. They try to put everything on him. Well, when he got it, it was a mess anyway. And then all of a sudden, they want to act like it was false. So God worked his hand, and I'm so glad that Barack Obama got in there. And one of the things that I'm so grateful for that a lot of people don't acknowledge is that Bill Clinton did a whole lot for us. And don't ever think that he didn't, because he was in some places that Barack needed him. If people didn't know, Barack Obama team went to see Bill Clinton in New York and said, listen, they knew what they needed to, what Barack needed. Barack was telling them the same thing that we was telling, you know, and when I say that, what Bill Clinton said was the same thing Barack Obama said. But unfortunately, if you want a white person to understand something sometime, you got to go get another white person to tell them. I'm just being honest. And but it all worked out in the end. I had a good time. I hope things get better for the country, because I'm really concerned with the young people like Lauren and Sydney and all the young people in the back, because they don't have the opportunities. As far as when we was coming up, we had they got education, but when we was coming up, we could go get a job at General Motors making $100,000 a year. Leave that job and go to the post office or the steel mill or wherever you want to go. Those opportunities are not there for y'all. Those jobs are gone, so you got to go to school. You got to get an education. God has blessed me so much. I've been retired for 3 years already. I retired at 49, and I'm just grateful because I can do, basically God's been good to me. I do what the hell I want to do. If I don't want to do nothing, I don't want to do nothing. But generally, I don't get out of bed before noon. And most of the so I've been blessed. I was fortunate to get one of them jobs. If I don't want to, and that's the blessing. I mean, God's been good to me. I mean that He has been so good to me, and so I just want things to get better. I just want things to work out for the young people, because they really got. I don't think people understand these generations. This job they got a road ahead of them, and I hope they understand. And I try to instill that into my son. And I try to tell all the black, whether it be black or white, I try to tell them young black boys, stay out of jail, stay out of trouble, because people don't understand the way the system is set up. They want to tag you with a number. And when they put that number on you, and you go to apply for a job, you don't even think about it. But they're going to pull that number out like, oh, you got in trouble when you was 10 years ago. And the more of us they can get out of the way, that's less that their kids got to. See, their kids get the job, and they got to be able to understand that whole picture. I'm not prejudiced, I'm not racist, I'm just telling you the way it is. So I had a great time. Sheridan did a good job, everybody did a good job. I had a wonderful time, you know what I'm saying? So if I had to do it, would I go up here and do it again? I'm getting a little bit too old for that. I enjoyed it, and the trip was great. Wasn't no negativity, wasn't no BS. Wasn't nobody having attitudes. We all, of course, Sherry would get me mad sometimes. She knew I wanted to stop for my cigarettes, made me wait 3 days. Hey, and that's all I got, and I enjoyed it.
Well, back during when Barack Obama was running for president, I was trying to get tickets because he was in Cincinnati like 3 or 4 times this second term, yeah. And so I was trying to get tickets,